Good day everyone, I'm Luz Bisminda Alaba and I'm going to discuss the lesson 5 and 6. Lesson number 5 is distinguishing facts from opinions. What is a fact? A fact is a statement that can be proven true or false by unbiased or objective evidence. It is a universal condition that is true to all. A fact is something that is true about a subject and can be tested or proven. So, we have some clues for facts, and if the following are present in the statement like 56% off or the patient experience, it is a fact. What is an opinion? An opinion is a statement which expresses a personal or group bias and cannot be proven objectively through impartial evidence. It is oftentimes open for debate. An opinion is what someone thinks about that subject. So we have to look for some clues, and if the following are present in a statement, I believe, it is obvious, they should, it is an opinion. Next is, why do we need to distinguish facts from opinions? It is important that you are able to see the difference between facts and opinions so that you can form intelligent judgment. Intelligent decisions are based on facts and not on opinions. Usually, the difference between fact and opinion are easy to recognize. However, at times an author can weave facts and opinions together so well that the line between the two becomes blurred. But keep in mind, the author is creating a persuasive argument, and that argument, no matter how persuasive, is still based on opinions and conclusions formed out of a point of view. As a critical reader, you must distinguish between the facts and opinions of your source to judge the information's reliability. One way to distinguish the difference between the two is to think if the condition is always true. For example, assume your school posts the following statement on a memo. In statement A, since a challenging workout is good for your health and will help you stay fit, we are forming an early morning jogging program. So, the question is this example a factual statement or an opinion? Even though a challenging workout is good for your health may sound like a fact, this statement is an opinion because how long are they defining challenging? Is it 5 kilometers? 10 kilometers? More importantly, this workout wouldn't be healthy for people with heart conditions. These students would actually be harmed if they overextended themselves. So, much of what you read in newspapers or magazines is a mix of factual information and the opinions of the author. Often, the opinions are disguised as fact to make the author's argument seem more believable. For example, in Statement B, registration and control of firearms in the Philippines are supported by the Philippine laws. However, such will not lead to a decrease in gun-related crime. So, the statement in bold letters, this one, are supported by the Philippine laws, is a fact. And the statement in italic, however such will not lead to a decrease in gun-related crime, is an opinion. There is nothing wrong with mixing opinions and fact together in an argument. Of course, it is done all the time. What's important is that the reader be able to distinguish the facts from the opinion in order for you to make a sound judgment about the information. Um, the following guys are a we have to read an article, but before we read, we have this starter kit. We have to think about this. Number one, it is claimed that federalism, through a change of constitution and form of government parliamentary, will bring about the needed development for Philippines, especially in its countryside. So the question is, do you agree or disagree? For me, I agree. And what do you think are the benefits of a federal form of government? And the answer is, my answer is decentralization, economic effect, and less dependence. In decentralization, regions or states are allowed by federalism to create solutions to their own problems, implement policies for their improvement, and make decisions for their own goods. In economic effects, this federal system allows governments have more power over their resources, and less dependence would lead to less dependence in other countryside like Metro Manila when it comes to finding jobs and establishing business. The positive side of these particular aspects is that the country's wealth will be more evenly distributed among state governments. So, this is the article written by Antonio R. Santos Sr., Federal Government. The Mindanao Business Council, MBC, has consistently been vying for federalism. In essence, federalism refers to the principle where governmental powers and responsibilities are divided between the federal national government and the state regional governments. The power of federal government is limited to those matters that the state governments couldn't handle satisfactorily. Federalism seeks to return political power to the people by administratively and politically decentralizing and devolving existing structures of government to the lowest possible level. It is usually the necessary for new forms of functional administration that has driven some countries to adopt federalism. Political modalities have sometimes become insufficient in coping with people's needs and problems, and federalism brings about the greater autonomy and greater self-determination, thus letting the people address their needs and problems in their own way and making available adequate resources. Unlike unitary system, in which the powers of local government are granted to them and can be varied or taken away by the national legislator, legislature, in a federal system, the local units of government have their own independent, constitutionally guaranteed authority. So, concurrent jurisdiction between the federal government and its local governments may head the areas of health, education, social welfare, cultural development, sports development, environmental protection, energy, tourism, and roads and highways. Among others, federal government can retain exclusive powers and functions over concerns on national security and external defense, foreign relations, currency, external trade, citizenship, civil rights, political rights, immigration extradition, national elections, Supreme Court decisions, and protection of intellectual property, property rights, and copyrights. The local units do not have national sovereignty and have no standing under international law. They cannot therefore undertake an independent foreign policy. So after we read, here are the vocabulary power. In letter A, autonomy as used in the context of the selection means independence. Letter B, sovereignty as used in the context of the selection means self-government. So the comprehension checker. In praise form, I give one fact stipulated about federalism. This one, the power of the legal government is limited to those matters that the state governments couldn't handle satisfactorily. It's the facts stipulated about federalism. And letter B. In praise form again, I give at least one opinion expresses about federalism. Greater autonomy and greater self-determination is what federalism brings. In letter C. Is the author in favor of federal form government? And I said yes. And my evidences is the author emphasized the benefits of federalism in terms of security and rights of the government. So next is lesson 6, forming opinions. We already know what an opinion is, but how do we form a strong or convincing opinion to have a solid basis for your opinion on issues? So let's tackle this and let's observe the following guidelines. Number 1, choose the subject or issue you feel the need to have an opinion about. Look at the process of forming an opinion as an internal argument with yourself, a mental debate, so to speak, and this means looking at all sides of the issue, the pros and the cons. Second is, read about the subject or the issues about the subject. You may be satisfied to read only one article at an online website, or you may research for hours, but not until you understand all the sides of this hypothetical argument. Your opinion should not become a conviction. You may also wish to talk to other people, get their opinions on the subject, and weigh the reasons they feel like they do. But be careful not to get a one-sided view. If you want to form an opinion about a topic like GMO, then do not ask just one scientist from one food company. Number 3, you can also listen to discussions, debates, and even arguments. Opinions on topics of social significance generate public debate everywhere you go. from the editorial pages of newspapers to national television news, and many points in between. Find out what recognized experts and professionals have to say about the subjects. The man on the street does not always have access to all the pertinent information on issues like federalism, mm, climate change, or health issues, and the man on the street will usually have an opinion, though if he or she aware of the issue. You may also talk to the issue you may also talk about the issue or subject with your friends, often share your view about many social or local issues, and if they have formed a solid opinion, they may have reasons for what they believe which will help you form your own. Just make sure that you know how to determine against sensationalized or motive generated stories on the subject. And finally, number 5, ask yourself if what you have heard or have you read is reasonable, logical, and realistic. And then decide what your opinion is on a subject. Be willing to state it, defend it, and stand by it. But have an open mind unless you are thoroughly convinced and willing to argue your point of view. Keep your opinion to yourself until you are asked for it, or choose to reveal it in a friendly discussion. Um, the next slide is we have here again a starter guide. Let's read, but before we read, check the agree or disagree boxes corresponding to what you think about the statement. Mm, Provide at least one sentence reason for your agreement or disagreement. And statement number 1. Men are more isolated because of information technology. And as for me, I disagree. And my reason is men are now advanced and become more transparent. Statement number 2. Men have more problems today than yesterday. And I agree. And my reason is yes, because nowadays woman has the same rights with men. So next is a let's read the paradox of our time. We have a taller buildings but shorter tempers, wide highways but narrow viewpoints. We spend more but have less. We buy more but enjoy less. We have bigger houses and smaller families, more conveniences but less time, more knowledge but less common sense, more judgment but less wisdom, more experts but more problems, more medicine but less wellness. We spend too recklessly, laugh too little, drive too fast, get too angry quickly, stay up too late, get up too tired, read too seldom, and watch TV too much. We talk too much, love too seldom, and lie too often. We have multiplied our possessions, but reduced our values. We've learned how to make a living, but not a life. We've added years to life, but not life to years. We've been all the way to the moon and back, but we have trouble crossing the street to meet new neighbor. We've conquered outer space, but not inner space. We've done larger things, but not better things. We're cleaning up the air but polluting the spirit. We've split the atom but not our prejudice. We write more but learn less. We plan more but accomplish less. We've learned to rush but not to wait. We have more income but less ethics, more leisure and less fun, more kinds of food but less fun, more acquaintances but fewer friends, more effort but less success. We build more computers to hold more information, but we communicate less. We've become long on quantity but short on quality. These are the times of fast foods and slow digestions, tall men and short characters. It is the time when there is much in the show window and nothing in the stockroom. These are the days of more incomes but more divorce, of fancier houses but broken homes. These are the days of instant foods, disposable diapers, and throwaway self-respect. These are the times of one-night stands and pills that do everything from cheer to quiet to kill. So after we read, here are again the vocabulary power. Select the best answer. She always loses her temper when she thinks she is deprived of her right. Is it character, habit, ability? And the answer is character. Letter B. Our prejudices against other culture and religion are deterrent to achieving lasting peace. The bold word prejudices means bias. Number 2. Comprehension checker. Letter A. Which among of the statement in the article paradox of our time do you believe to be most truthful? Um, I believe this one. We've learned to rush but not to wait. Why? Because most people were longing for an easy life, so they prefer for a shortcut route. And last slide is, which among the statements in the article paradox of our time to be less truthful? And I believe this one, we have taller buildings but shorter temper. Why? Because we cannot reach our goals if we are impatient. Letter C is, what is paradox? And why is our time described to be paradox? Paradox is a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. Um, why our time described to be a paradox? Paradox because our words contradict with our actions and our faith were against our belief. I hope you learned something today, guys, and thank you.